coming to you virtually live from the Beer to Whiskey Studios high atop Barley's Tap Room on Washington Street in downtown Greenville, South Carolina. Barley's is beer headquarters of upstate South Carolina. I'm your host, Russ Heaps. This is an episode of Beer to Whiskey, and it is one of our Big Jon and 5 segments where I get my good buddy here, Big Jon Richards, who is our honorary PhD of craft beer, to pick a beer. He chooses a beer from Barley's close to 80 taps, and we talk a little bit about it, and he knows more than I do, obviously, and almost anybody would, but Big Jon is kind of an expert. And we talk about the beer, we talk about the brewery, and sometimes a little stuff seeps in about brewing in general, a little history or whatever. But before we get started, Big Jon, what do we want the folks to do?
We want them to like us. We want them to specifically click on like us and then subscribe in that order.
Those two things, that's all you have to do. See the thumbs up down below, click on that. At the end of the video, there's a page where there's a couple of other videos you can click on if you want to watch them, but there's also a round Beer to Whiskey icon. If you click on that, you're all subscribed. A new video comes out every Thursday at noon East Coast time,
Could be.
and it could be either one. And Big Jon, with that, what do we have? We do a lot of these in a day, and this is our last one, and we've been here a while.
Don't tell them our secrets.
I know, but what can I say? Big Jon, what do we have in front of us?
We have Anderson Valley's Old Fashioned Ale, which kind of is just what it sounds like.
I'm hoping.
So Anderson Valley has that Wild Turkey Ale, which as I know you like, and as you know
Yes.
I like. And so they've taken this idea of an imperial stout aged in bourbon barrels, which a lot of folks do, and turned it into a old-fashioned inspired ale. So what they've done here is taken the same brew that makes the Wild Turkey Ale. At the end of fermentation, they added some cherries. They had an additional hop addition of Hersbrucker hops, which are known for creating a real orange flavor on top of things.
You knew that, right?
Of course, right?
Yeah, right.
Otherwise, why would you tune in?
Exactly.
So they've added the extra hop addition for the extra orange and the cherries at the end of fermentation. And then when they age it in Wild Turkey barrels with a bitters to create the whole idea of the old fashioned. And so you create this big aromatic, full flavored, full bodied beer. And this one, conversely to what sometimes happens, maybe it even drinks bigger than what it is, because this is 8.3. And this may not drink as big as some of the 10s, or may drink bigger than some of the 10s you've had. I snuck a little sip of it while Russ wasn't looking. Don't tell.
Well, I was busy getting things running here.
But
The only reason I'm the host is because I'm the guy with the credit card and the video here. Otherwise, there'd be somebody much more competent sitting here with Big Jon, believe me. But right?
well, hey, I don't know. Russ says you want to come do this. I say sounds good.
It sounds like fun,
Right?
It's beer.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's give it a go.
Give her a shot.
Text me
Give it.
slowly.
Here's to it. Give it a nice big. Yeah. The aroma there is all about the aromatics of the bitters. And you pull a lot of cherry. I pull a lot of cherry right up front. The end of it's chocolatey and like milk chocolatey on the finish almost.
In this group of Big Jon and 5s that we've done today, we have had some really big beers.
Yes.
And this stands up well against all of them.
Absolutely.
Wow,
Well,
this
it's
is good.
unique. It's another one of those beers that doesn't really fit into a category well, but drinking it all by itself, or pairing this with a dessert, pairing this with like a pecan pie pops up in my head. Pairing this with like
molasses cookies.
Yeah,
Boy,
Yeah.
that would, they, yeah.
yeah. A good real ginger snap.
Mm-hmm.
Do the same thing.
And I got to mention it, we did, in this group of things that we did today, we did a Beer 101 on lacing, and this is
Yep.
lacing very nicely.
It is indeed.
All this white
Yeah.
beer in the glass.
It's sticking together well.
Yep. I'm impressed with this.
Yeah, it's
I like
fun.
this a
Anderson
lot.
Valley's doing some really good beers, and have been for some time. They're the guys from out in Boonville, California, that
Yeah, they do have some.
have a language associated with their town, which is fun. They make some really great stuff. We think they're getting known these days for doing some really awesome cosa, but this stuff is just as much up there, in their wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And they got, like I said, that I remember a couple years back when that Wild Turkey Stout came out. It's getting harder and harder to. It's a curse of being as exposed as I am to all of the beers, that it's harder and harder for a beer to get my attention.
Right.
And I remember when that Wild Turkey first came out, it was like, oh my God, just I almost brought a tear to my eye. It may have literally brought a tear to my eye.
Right now, I'm having to pinch myself. This
Right.
is,
And this one does some of that same wonderful stuff. I mean, at 8.3, this is a sipper,
yeah.
which I think is wonderful. I can
Yeah.
easily see myself sitting down at the end of the day, pouring a glass of this, at a
And I
ski
could-
lodge.
And I could probably do 16 ounces of this, but that would be it in
Right.
terms of, not just because of the alcohol content, but because of just the bigness
Yeah.
of it.
It's a big aggressive beer.
Yeah.
And, sometimes beer has to get your attention. And one of the wonderful things about it is that there's so much of this that can whack you over the head and leave you saying thank you. And there's so much of the other stuff that you can have 9 of and still get up and walk
Right.
away. It's just what a wonderful world of beer we have.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Right. To that I say,
And with that, cheers.
cheers.
Thanks again, Barley's, and see you next time.
Wow, that was a great time.
That was very nice.